We go. Okay, welcome to the birth child and the birthplace and the first kiddie photos that will be coming up soon of Japan's finest racing driver that they had up until the 80s/90s, according to Murray Walker. Although they hadn't quite witnessed the amazingness of Ukyo Katayama and, of course, my personal favourite, Kamui Kobayashi. Here we are, watching the birth and rise of Satoru Nakajima, the Japanese driver who drove for Lotus and Tyrrell during the late 80s and early 90s. And this is Nakajima Satoru F1 Super License, which is a Formula 1 officially licensed game, released only in Japan. Sadly. We all got Nigel Mansell and Ayrton Senna, and the occasional other driver here and there. Japan only got Satoru Nakajima. Who I believe's best finish was ever a fourth. So here we go. Vary Corporation brings us Chip Tune. Grant McLaren. I do love these types of drawings. There's something very nostalgic and cool about them. That Williams. I love that livery, it's such a beautiful livery. Of course, one of the worst Ferraris to ever be put into place. Poor Ivan Capelli. So here we are, F1 Super License. So, Nakajima looks entirely like he's having a poo during out the entire moment of this. Why they chose that, I've got no idea. You can look at your records, you've got a GP and you can do just one-off races or a test all on your own. We're going to go for a GP season, and there's a specific reason why I'm so excited about all of this. So you can choose any of the teams from the 1992 season. So you have the McLarens, you've got the Tyrrells, and then you've got the Williamses, the Brabhams, Eric van der Poel and Damon Hill. Damon Hill failed to qualify for the first 5 races he tried with that car. The right state, unfortunately. They had no money at all. The Footwork team, with Aguri Suzuki behind the wheel. I've got a funny feeling that they may be slightly overpowered, given their Japanese prowess. Lotus, I'm assuming that is, because it's the 107. Yes, it is. It's V8 as well. So Lotus, Johnny Herbert, Mika Hakkinen. The Fond Metal team, which only sadly lasted that specific year or two. Gabriele Tarquini dragging that car into all kinds of amazing places, doing fine things. Shame that was the El Docella team who I used to cheer on. The March team in their last year, Fond Metal and Brabham, it was their last years as well. So when we complain about Marussia and Caterham going under in one season, this season had 4 teams I think go under. So March was one of them. There's Benetton. Michael Schumacher got his first full season in F1 this year and was alongside Martin Brundle. That is the Ferrari team because they've got a V12 engine. So sorry for Jean Alesi and Ivan Capelli on that one. The Minardi team, and quite hilariously when I was playing this earlier I noticed Gianni Morbidelli was spelt with a J, not a G. Christian Fittipaldi alongside him. We've got the Ligiers, Thierry Boutsen, Eric Bernard doing their all Frenchy French on that, having a torrid year. Then you've got the Dallaras kicking about. I may have the Dallara and Ferraris the wrong way around actually now having a look at this. I just remember the white patch across the side of both, so we'll soon work out who's which. My favourite livery is one of the many anyway, the Venturi Larousse team. Gerard Larousse doing all kinds of wonderful things with that. The Jordan team that had, after an amazing debut season, a torrid follow-up with Yamaha engines. However, they're suspiciously overpowered in this game. Again, well they was last time I played anyway. And this is the reason why we're playing the Andrea Moda F1 team. Yes, you can play as the most despicable team in F1 history ever. The only team ever to be thrown out of the Formula 1 World Championship for just being awful. Life-threatening and full of shenanigans. And when you click in, I've got Roberto Moreno, and there's Perry McCarthy, aka the Stig. And I wonder if he even knows that he's made it into a computer game. He should find out. And we're going to, in honour to Perry McCarthy and his, if you've ever read his book, it's hilarious. Go for it. So Nakajima, look, you can see him. He's just like, don't pick that car. Don't pick that car. It's all black for a reason because there's no sponsorship on the thing. But we're going for it. And we'll go straight off to Kyalami for the South African Grand Prix. So Satoru gives us his keen eye on things. It's going to be raining, sadly, for the quali. So I'm going to dive into the settings, because one of the things that actually really impresses me about this game is you do actually have quite a bit of say over what the car is like. So if I dive into the wings, and it explains to me in quite easy detail, I get more downforce, which means less straight line speed but better corner speed as I go along. Now Kyalami is quite a technical circuit, so I'm going to go for a 50 wing. Tyres, durability versus grip. I should really be on rain tyres if it's going to be raining. Engine maps. Now this is quite a technical circuit, so I'm going to go for that. I think we'll find out. Brakes, brake life versus brake power. I don't really brake, to be fair. I kind of let my finger off the accelerator more than anything. And suspension, so cornering speed versus tyre damage. Screw it, let's go for somewhat hard, I think is what that stands for. So I'll put my car back together and let's go out for qualifying. So there's the grid so far at the moment. John Lacey, Ayrton Senna, Michael Schumacher, right, so yeah, it's Riccardo Patrese, JJ Leto, Andrea De Cesaris. Oh, who would that be? The P in the French. Pass. I want to say Pierre-Henri Raphael, but that was the wrong year. Mika Hakkinen is the guy who I want to bump off the grid if I want to get in the last spot in 47 seconds. Oh. Come on. Problems. Is this what it's like? To try. Why isn't it? It was working a second ago. Ah, okay. Sorry, that was me being thick. Okay, so welcome. I changed the mapping of the buttons, that's annoying. Hopefully I should get it. Now, as you can see, this game adopts a completely different view to a lot of the I'm going down a motorway. And I really enjoy having a game that's got a slightly different view. It makes it inherently very, very challenging. And I'm traditionally very, very poor at this South African circuit, and I don't normally qualify because there's only room for 8 on this grid because 16-bit, essentially. So we'll go around a nice 1 minute 34. No, that may have got me on the real grid, but it won't get me on this grid. And so you're basically trying to make yourself get round this circuit in the best way possible by trying to not brake ever, really, if you can help it. Oh, I always hate that epoxy hairpin. This was a bugger of a circuit in real life anyway, and it was on the calendar for a couple of years before they took it off. Well, there keeps being talk of people wanting to go back here. Mickey Mousey circuit for my opinion. Sorry, I'm at 48. Oh, do you know what, actually? That's only just behind. I might get on the grid yet. I'm finding actually, this is the first time I remapped it, because when I was playing this game with an analog stick, it's so tetchy. Whereas if you remap the direction controls to actual left and right buttons, God, it makes this game so much easier to control. Do that, everyone. But yeah, aside from having the shortest loop in the world, there you go, I'm on the grid. Great. And Andrea Moda makes it onto the grid. Now, the team only ever did make it onto the grid once in their entire F1 career, and that was at Monaco with Roberto Moreno. He lasted about 13 laps, I think, before his car conked out. Perry McCarthy made it into pre-qualifying, made it through pre-qualifying once, owing to the fact that the Brabham team and I think maybe the March team as well. No, the March team was still going until the last couple of races. The Brabham team dropped out after Hungary, and it meant that pre-qualifying was cancelled, and so for a couple of races Perry McCarthy actually had a vague chance of having a go at qualifying, but it never really happened. His book only has one chapter on his F1 career, but it's one of the funniest books about facing against adversity throughout your entire life as something that you really want to do, and I thoroughly recommend it if you get the chance. One other amazing thing about this game, changeable weather. Yep, this game does it without a day one patch, which is my latest annoyances. Sending out stuff broken and then having to pay for well, you don't pay for patching on the PS4 and stuff, but on other games you do. Well, platforms you do. 43.7, I think that might put me right up top. 6th on the grid. Whoop whoop! Thank you, anime grid gal. So, it's still going to be rainy for the final. So let's go down onto the grid. John Lacey and Senna, Michael Schumacher, Carlo Patrese, JJ Leto, Perry McCarthy, Andrea De Cesaris. Oh, it's Paul Belmondo in the March. Well, they only made it to the grid a couple of times in real life in that year anyway, before then struggling in the Simtech 2 years later. Oh dear, crash. So, this game is so difficult. Oh, smack. You've got to be so confident when you're trying to overtake someone. Through you go, whoever that is. Look like the Tyrrell to me. Oh dear. Smack. Thankfully there is not a damage model. But this is actually the first time in about 6 goes of playing this game all the way through. This is the first time I've ever actually raced at Kyalami. I just don't get on the grid. But then this is the first time that I've played it with actual buttons as opposed to the analog stick on the steering. And one of the main reasons why the analog stick is so touchy is because when you press it, it thinks you're doing multiple pressings, and so you're kind of snaking around the track as opposed to actually enjoying yourself somewhat. Oh, look how far behind I am. El Terrible. corner? No, I don't. Which one is just too far away to be doing anything other than coming in 8th place? Does make me laugh that Nigel Mansell didn't make the grid. Yet Paul Belmondo in a March did. Reminds me of when you play all the F1 management sims and everyone's all like doing the weird pair-ups at the end of the first year, and you get things like Schumacher and Hill in a Minardi. So that little tyre squeal that you can hear is my tyres reaching the end of their life and the end of their grip. Which I think is all about that GGG down at the bottom. I've yet to really work out what that's about. But I'm assuming that's grip. Well, I was pleased with myself because I didn't put on a stupid show. But we're still very much last. The Dallara was... So Paul Belmondo scores a point in the March. Andrea de Cesare is 2 in the Tyrrell. I don't think they scored all year. That Tyrrell car was god awful. So there we go. So you can save and continue or not. So let's go on to Mexico. We're determined for good old. Thanks, Satoru. I'm happy with that. Let's do it. Let's go Mexicoing! Who's on the grid this time? Senna Capelli, Mansell, and Martin Brundle. Thierry Boutsen, JJ Leto again, Carl Wendlinger in the other March. It looks like Olivier Griard in the other Tyrrell. So that does mean that 91 was... Nakajima is not in this game, so he is like the all-seeing eye. Forgot about Gruyard, the Frenchman that no one wanted to lap. Bit squigglish. I got that bit right. And I know because when I drove this last time, no one else is really going at 300 kilometers down the straight. No one's really taking to the grass before they get to turn 1 either, but there we go. Let's not all get upset. Corner. Right, that's not bad. .43.10, I think I'm in again. still feels like it's on a bit beyond the limit. Some of that's down to my turning circle problem that I have. Some of it's down to me. I love being able to take the Piltada out. Piltada, or whatever it is. The last corner. Nicely, thank you. Ooh, that lasso. I like the little backfiring and everything. There's something very nostalgically pleasing about having just that all in. Of course, this was when you had qualifying tyres. I completely get F1 being about its efficiency and things like that. I really do. I just think that you take the wrong steps as a sport sometimes, and what is meant well has actually come across sometimes as quite fake. I wouldn't say that I don't miss the mass field spread that used to happen in these races. I miss retirements, I must say. That'd be efficiencies. Anyway, I'm on the grid. 42.05. Good bunch. 6th on the grid. That will do me fine. I'll try again. Senna Capelli. Wow, 37s. Ligier Demarge. Okay. Let's do this schnauzer. Really then, Linger? Oh, shit. Come on. We can do this. It would be amazing if Barry McCarthy scored a point and Andrea Moda. For all the back markers out there, this is for you. Oh yes, into the points. Oh, am I going to have the Dallara as well? Yes, 5th. Oh, closing up. Ah, shit. Right. Don't hit me. Thank you. Thank you, Leto. He drove so well in lower cars, then when he gets his chance at Benetton, has all of those health issues. Didn't get kept on the grid for 95, did he? There's a massive thing ahead. So I don't think I'm going to get any better than where I am. 3 though. I'm impressed with my lap times. Oh shit, not impressed with that though. Back, 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 on the track, on the track. Phew. So busy looking at the map to see where they were. Go round and round and round. Honda sponsorship. I really wished Honda had made one of those games a bit like the Incredible Machines or Crazy Machine games, based on their adverts where the things used to keep smacking each other and it would all like set off a domino effect. That would be a commercial game from Honda that I would happily buy. Yay! Points! Points for the MacArthur balls! 2 at that! Terry Bootson scoring in the Ligier. All kinds of miracles going on. And Ivan Capelli second. Damon Hill down the order. So where am I? I'm 9th in the Drivers' Championship. That will do nicely, thank you. Let's go to Interlagos, Brazil! Nakajima's eye. I love how that is in English. Like most of this game is in English, to be fair. I don't get why. I reckon I can get away with the same settings again. Let's do it. No, Damon Hill's the 8th driver on the grid. Oh no. Am I going to really bump out Damon Hill on the grid? This seems unnecessarily harsh. He wasn't even in the Brabham when it came to Interlagos. It was the last driver to attempt to qualify for a Grand Prix that was a female. There's no Susie Wolf and no Simona de Silvestre. Sauber after all that. Sauber took your monies and runs. Oh, that's a bit tight, that one. Maybe it was not a great idea to go for the same setup again and again and again. But if I can make sure that I can get round the whole outside bowl in a speedy fashion. Oh, you can do all that, okay. Oh, and that too. Oh, no, I think I'm okay then, to just be crap around those couple of corners. It's working alright. 47. Mow that grass, Simon. Mow that grass. Aw, pal. Come on, mate. We can do it. It's funny that this is called F1 Super License, actually, because according to Perry's book, he was supposed to race here. They'd fired both the drivers, and it was Alex Caffey and Enrico Bertaggia, I believe. And he'd come along to come and race, and no one gave him the super license. They spent so long deliberating as to why they wouldn't give it to him that the race came and went before they could grant it. You should have known then that it was going to be an absolute disaster. Never mind. Ooh, from 6.5. One more for luck. Can I do it? Oh yes, look at that. El Perfecto. Not so much there. I always let go going into the corner, so then I'm losing stuff on the straight all the way down. But because it's a real guess sometimes to work out where the corners are, because I'm not 100% used to the way how these tracks are laid out, it seems easier to do that and sacrifice that way as opposed to being full speed on the way out. 45.85! Woo 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 woo! Well, I'm pleased. Where did that put me? Perry McCarthy's on pole in an Andrea Moda! Whoop 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 whoop! Your grid, one grid! Oh, no extras though. I will not be staying there, I can guarantee you that. So Perry McCarthy on pole in his Andrea Moda, Shona Lacey, Ayrton Senna, Nigel Mansell, Michael Schumacher, Thierry Boutsen, the Jordan driver, Maurizio Gugelmin, and there you can see just at what disadvantage the Andrea Moda car is compared to some of the other cars that are out there. Ah, shit. Oh, and again. A little bit crash happy at the start. Now I've got a bit too much catch up to do. That looks so much like a 94 Lotus from the F1 game by Domarkin. Let's see if I can try and do anything. Oh shit. Come back to me, child. I do love the layout of Brazil. There is such a nice natural flow to it. And it generally hosts very, very good races as well, which is great. But it is one of my favourite circuits in terms of flow. And even on like this type of game, this still feels like a nice flow. I'm closing them down actually. Would help if I stayed out of the gravel though. Still got 2 grips on my tyres, which is good. Six. Shit. Oh, that was terrible. placed itself again. Unless that means that I'm then out of grip. I'm a bit confused. I will work that out at some point. Alright, 1 lap to go. I don't think I'm going to be able to do anything. That was good though. Too far behind. But another point for the Perry McCarthy. Whip, whip, whip. Fastest lap on the last lap, 2. So I'm clearly rocking that one. Beat by the Jordan. Michael Schumacher, Jean Alesi, Nigel Mansell and Senna. Beat Boutsen and Michele Alboreto in the footwork. That does me. 8th in the championship as well. Equal points with Martin Brundle. Catalunya! Like the way how they've decided to split that one out. Nakajima still squeezing that poo out. It will do, it will do. Keep it as it is. It's working fine so far. So we got Patricia. Well, it's Johnny Herbert who's the person I'm going to try and bump off the grid. Sorry, Johnny. No! Oops! Now I'm terrible at Spain on almost every game going, but I was better at the older versions of Spain. I can't get that new final sector right for the love of God, and people will tell you whenever I'm playing Barcelona on anything. Sorry, I was just scratching the gym. It was. I am notoriously and historically terrible at this circuit, and I think one of my worst races that I've ever done in sim racing on R Factor happened, where I was lapped so many times in this race that I didn't actually get within 90% racing finishing distance because I struggled that much with that final sector. That chicane is horrible with those double banking curbs and horridness. I do miss that final corner. I get why they've done it. But it's kind of emaciated that corner completely now. And I was trying to think of huge accidents that have happened at that corner, and the big one that sticks out for me would have been Andrea Montermini smashing his ankles in the Simtek in '94. Of course, remember Hill crashing out there in '96 in the rain. So there's been crashes there. I guess because it has a grandstand quite close by, it's easier to emaciate the corner and to move the grandstand back. tell how I'm doing. It's a second faster, so that can't be too bad. I felt unnecessarily slow. And I didn't change the engine ratio for it to pick up faster on that stop either, but there really is only one or two places where you need to go so slow, so... But I do like that you've got those setup options on a game that is so old. You don't get those setup options now in some games. And certainly not with the explanation as to what it does. I think that's a really, really good way of telling people exactly what you're doing when you're playing with setup. I approve. Ah! Come on, Andrea Moda, we can do it. Yes, Sassetti will be proud. 53.7 over the line. Am I on the grid? Am I not? Fourth! Ooh! That's much better than I thought it was going to be. So again, sorry Johnny. So Patrese and Senna on the front row, Schumacher, Perry McCarthy, Jean Alesi, Paul Belmondo in the March again, Bertrand Gachot in the Venturi LaRousse, and Olivier Grouillard in the Tyrrell. I love that Venturi livery, it's amazing. Oh yes! Perry leads! Absolutely fuck a duck. This will not last. Ah shit. There goes the McLaren, the Williams. Although they all do seem to be a little bit slower in the straight line than me. And it's interesting to see that all the grips in are grey at the moment. So I'm assuming that that's what that means. Oh, there could be real potential for an Andrea Moda win at the circuit that I'm notoriously shat at. Come on, Si, you can do this. Don't glitch on me now, game. I'm just ahead. Just is enough. Who is it that said you want to win a race by the smallest margin possible? You can do this. This is all going a bit too well. Last lap, got plenty of advantage. Bring it on home, boy, bring it on home. Now you've got to lap someone, shat. Oh, it's Normundo in the march. Soz dude. I'm assuming there's an option to do more than 5 laps in these races, because there are pit lanes. I win! Andrea Moda wins, Perry McCarthy wins. That's for every back marker. Ooh! Excellent. That's the first time I've won in this game. I've not seen that. A sight that no one will have ever seen, probably. Epson, of course, the main sponsor for Tyrrell. Nakajima obviously still associated with them. So, Paul Belmondo there shown as scoring a point in the march. Not quite sure how Gasho and Gruyard ended up behind him there. I found that quite often actually when I played this, that the actual way how they come home is different. So I'm second in the World Championship in the Andrea Moda. What the hell? We are saving all over that. I don't think I can cap that. Thank you so much for watching. I think we'll pick up this on another day. But this is Satoru Nakajima's F1 Super License. It's a Sega Genesis or Mega Drive game, depending on where you come from. It's Mega Drive in the UK. And cheers for watching High Playing Games. Thank you, Perry McCarthy and Andrea Moda, for making such a fantastically shambolic team. Bye for now.